the way the mind of a man works is quite different from how the female works. Females, they are literally open, they are open-minded. And men, most of the men you've ever interacted with, whatever they believe is what they run with. Now, a man being a person created based on conviction. Men are people of conviction. Whatever they believe, they run with it. Each time you're like, if it happens, what if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? Don't you see what's happening? It's like a war that is already staged against you. And the worst part is that you're being defeated in your mind. Because once you're defeated in your mind, automatically, what do you have? You literally lost even before you started the fight or the battle. For the longest of time, mankind has always been ruled by their words, by their thoughts, and it cripples you or it can make you become what you intend to do. So there is one word we all need to be very careful of, and that is the word called if. For so long, right? Even myself, I've used that same word called if for so long. And the bad thing about the word if is that it's full of probability. It comes with uncertainty. It even comes with you being conflicted with your own thoughts, with your own mind. Because whenever you say a word around if, it means that you're playing the disadvantage. You're focused on the negative part of this, negative part of whatever you added that word into. For instance, let's say you say a word, if it comes today, it simply means if the probability of it coming and not coming is also in that statement. And the painful part is when I see people use words like this for outcomes or desires that they wish they would want it to happen, to manifest. Right? It's like you're expecting something good to happen in your favor, and the next minute you some people just use the word if it happens, or the major one we all know and most people are familiar with, which is what if it doesn't happen? And it has never helped in any form. Using the word if against scenarios or against situations that you would want a positive outcome in your life. Using if puts you, it defeats your mind because what happens is that human beings, like the way we are, especially the male gender, we are creatures of conviction. And being that, right, the way the mind of a man works is quite different from how the female works. Females, they are literally open, they are open minded. And men, most of the men you've ever interacted with, whatever they believe is what they run with. And it's always difficult to make them see things from a different perspective. And that is how the male gender mind works. And this is really detrimental for men, right? So now a man being a person created based on conviction. Men are people of conviction. Whatever they believe, they run with it. And if this is a challenge for a man, and each time you're like, if it happens, what if it doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? Don't you see what's happening? It's like a war that is already staged against you. And the worst part is that you're being defeated in your mind. Because once you're defeated in your mind, automatically, what do you have? You literally lost even before you started the fight or the battle. So it's always difficult to this statement I'm saying, it has the capacity to ruin one's life. As tiny and as simple as it may sound, if it is very, very, very detrimental, it's deadly, and it affects your mind. And for some people, it always perpetuates lack because the mind not in alignment with itself, meaning there is an ongoing war in the inward man. And when your mind is at war, the painful part is that you can also pose as a threat to your own success or to your breakthrough. Imagine some situations because you have that if mindset. What if? Sometimes nothing will go wrong, but your mind is always looking for what can go wrong. And you see people in situations whereby everything has already been approved, everything is clear, but they might just out of anxiety or pressure or just that inward conviction, they might say or do something that would even make them fail or bring attention to what people might have overlooked, and they will be like, "Oh, we didn't notice this," and that is how it can even fight yourself. The scripture also says that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Formed against you is threats, outside threats. But look at it from this angle. What of the weapon formed against yourself, which is the inward limitation you as a person can create and form against yourself? There's a high tendency that that can work. It can even affect you. So the best way and the solution around this is what we call thought replacement. Thought replacement. Whenever you catch yourself having such thoughts, you catch yourself, you can easily replace that if negative thought with outcomes that you would want to happen. It's not easy, but over time you need to keep doing it. And just watch yourself. Whenever you catch yourself saying if, quickly change it. You can say if maybe you're looking at something, you're expecting something to work for your favor, and you just say, if this thing works, if you say that immediately, just catch yourself. Say change it to like once this thing works, or when this thing works, or you can even say immediately this thing works, right? So you need to watch this and try as much as you can to ensure that the if factor it's not always reoccurring, right? Because the idea is that the more you lean into this, at this point, we need to pay attention to this. We need to pay attention to this. It costs more to be in doubt of a desired outcome. It costs more because once you're in doubt, you start having inward conflictions. Your mind and your heart is not aligned, and you can even pose as a threat to yourself. So I always advocate people to the major thing you need to do, we need to work on our mind with thought replacement. Whenever you find yourself saying words like if it will work, what if it doesn't work, things like that, replace it with the thoughts of what you desire. Once this works, when this works. Believe me, at first, it's not going to be something you're very comfortable with. Even most times, you won't even catch yourself. But I always say this: awareness is all you need. Now that you are aware of this, over time, just put your mind to it, and the more you are aware about something, over time, you start getting the hang of it, right? So I'm always advocating to everyone, not if you know you fall into this category, like you know deep down that there's this inward conviction, and if factor it's something that is becoming not the if factor it's becoming a threat to whatever you're trying to achieve or whatever you're trying to do. I beg you, please pay attention to this and try as much as you can. Try as much as you can to fight this. You need to fight this.